boy.
To clinch her second title of the season. Indeed. Brandon. There it is. Nice. Bang.
Winning shot. Simo.
On a place that holds so much historical value, live from the Cherry Bowl in Rockford, Illinois, the PWBA Rockford Regional Stepladder Finals about to take place. Here in a wonderful Sunday afternoon when we talk about the historical perspective, the once and the former home of this great organization, the Professional Women's Bowling Association. There is a little bit of history that could be made to keeping the legacy going. And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Again, good afternoon. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Alongside Julia Bond, Jason Thomas is our producer, and our shadow intern shadowing Bowl TV today is Lauren Schaefer. Julia Bond, Megan Duff had taken her bowling balls to the car. She thought plus 81 was not going to be enough. And her dad, Bob, had to go out and find her. And here she is, qualifying, of course, as the fourth seed, as we know. She will face Kayla Smith, who ascended in her own situation. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I know I've been there, right? You feel like you just didn't do what you had to do. You go take the balls to the car, only to learn that you've made the cut. And in this case, it kind of feels like maybe, right, a little bit of that house money. And now Megan Duff's got a chance to run the ladder. Her mom has 16 PWBA regional titles, USBC Hall of Famer Linda Kelly. She's got a chance to earn her first was in 2016. What does Megan Kelly have to do to get that job done today?
I think in Megan's case, you know, that's a little bit of an emotional roller coaster to think that you didn't make the cut, and then here you are bowling the practice session, you know, for the step ladder. So I think for Megan, staying present, you know, not get ahead of herself. But again, Megan is a great personality, very calm. So I think she'll have fun in this moment. But really, the patience was key today, making good decisions. You know, earlier we had 8 blocks. Not 8 blocks, excuse me. Jeez. We had
That'd be a lot of bowling.
Right? We had 8 games this morning. And, you know, it was kind of a bumpy road for people. But now, you know, you have one game, you know, matches in the stepladder, so we might see more risky moves, you know, from Megan, and especially when she was on around this. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was this pair that she shot 250.
Her
on,
high
right?
game was bowled on this very pair, 257. It was in game number 5, and I believe with the same bowling ball, which is the Motive Ascend. And I asked her about that. And you assume that she's going to be throwing it again because it looked pretty darn good in Game 5. And she did end up throwing something different as she switched pairs, but I think she's obviously went to the one that kind of got her here, if you will. For Kayla Smith, Kayla at plus 127 shot 248 in the final game. The talented lefty, of course, with now lineage. She is set to be married 2 weeks from today to Nick Summer, who is the grandson of John Summer Jr., former head of the PWBA in the organization. What a moment for her. Our top seed is Samantha Knight. We've got 2 lefties in the field. Sammy Knight also was the top seed at last year's Cleveland Regional at Yorktown Lanes. Ironically enough, Summer Jasmine made that show as well in Cleveland. So Summer Jasmine, number 2, Samantha Knight, number 1. Our opening match pitched the 3 versus the 4. Kayla Smith versus Megan Duff. 2 lefties, 2 righties make up the stepladder finals here this afternoon. Big shout out to Carrie Ogle, our photographer down lane. Of course, stepladder finals always brings that extra level of silence, if you will. I'll try to do our best to listen to make sure that we aren't being too loud. Yeah, it's a tough deal for broadcasters. That's probably the hardest job we have, is to make sure we're not too loud.
No, I get excited.
Opening shot for Kayla Smith. Bang.
Nailed it.
Well, that's a good way to get excited. You should be excited about that. Hot dog. Just mustard on the hot dog on the jersey.
See, and I am learning today that she doesn't actually like hot dogs.
Yeah, correct.
So that's news to me.
That was a team joke that became a thing. And you know how teams go. They have a little fun. It becomes a thing. First shot now for Megan Smith.
Okay, good 9.
That's a very good 9. You know, the opening shot. Maybe a few jitters just to kind of shake that out a little bit, right?
I agree. I think it'll take a couple frames to settle down, but like I said, good 9.
Megan shot 217. Her low game today was 151. She actually did that after shooting 257. And then rallied to shoot 231, 217. And again, folks, I thought she had not made the number. And I could understand why, based on where she was at the time in the standings, which was around 9th or 10th, if my memory serves correctly. So there was a lot of players ahead of her. And I was talking to her about that, and as the things started to shape out, about frame 7, you started to see, okay, well, Rebecca Hagerman is going to be out. Then you just keep going down the list, down the list, down the list, and there was Megan Duff at plus 81. It's a better shot. And
nice.
That's the carry specifically on this one that we saw a lot of get into the church. Let the ball do the work. Quality spare shooting. Of course, through a couple. Waiting in the wings, Summer Jasmine. Number 2 seed, again, top seed this afternoon, or this evening now, is Samantha Knight. Both Kayla Smith and Samantha Knight will be throwing the same bowling ball, which is the Black Widow urethane. Great shot.
Beautiful.
Kind of one noticeable thing that is missing for Kayla is a wrist device. She is not wearing that, and that was something she had worn at least for the majority of times that I had seen her bowl previously, including the Anniversary Open, of course, making that show. This is her second career show of any kind. But no wrist brace today, just some kinesiology tape around that wrist.
Was that because we're trying to be more rolly? Is that part of it?
You know, it certainly could be. That's going to peel.
Ooh.
And now 2, 4, 8, 10. That's actually something we didn't see a ton of, and not just from Megan, but, you know, that was a couple 2, 4, 10s we saw, again, just from the field perspective.
And that's what I was kind of worried on Fresh, because we saw that a lot on Fresh. We talked about feeling like that they were bowling in like a phone booth.
Correct.
Whereas like if you missed it left, which we've seen, you know, the ball wants to pick up, but if we get it right early, at least on Fresh, it kind of feels like it wants to hang out there.
That's a good way to get count. Megan won a regional, I should say, in 2016. We're talking about dates. The PWBA Northway Lanes Central Open. The women's regional events that were ran in the early years of the relaunch were ran by the PBA, and we appreciate them. Megan trying to add to the family lineage. Good break there.
Good job.
Speaking of family, shout out to her husband Kevin. Son Wyatt is here. In fact, Wyatt, I think, was here in the entire tour season, nationally.
Pretty sure. I think I saw him every event, too. Him and Grandpa were hanging out.
Yeah, they did a lot of hanging out, and Grandma as well. They had the best bleacher seats in the game. They were prepared every single tournament. Back over to Kayla. Wrap 7. Finished the family portion, of course, for Megan, daughter Autumn, and also daughter Layla. Full family for the Duffs. There's a good look at that replay in the Wrap 7.
Saw a lot of that today.
As I say, which was something that JB talked a lot about in the opening part this morning during qualifying. Wrap 7s, Wrap 10s, very common here at the Cherry Bowl.
Very quintessential Cherry Bowl.
Clean through 4 is Smith. This kind of feels just slightly similar to what we saw in her from the last game. And what I'm talking about is she got to, I believe it was frame 6, and she ended up leaving back-to-back Wrap 7s. So she stepped up in frame 8, just aced it. That was the left lane at the time. She actually finished on this pair. She asked that one to go.
Good shot. Yeah, we talked a lot about, solid hits today. A little bit too. Predominantly, the solid 8, that being just like a little bit of a high shot for Kayla Smith. A small move, especially with throwing urethane, but can't really throw it better than that.
All right, good spare. No doubles yet, 3-9 spares. And Megan Duff, despite the 2-4-8-10 in the third, obviously still with plenty of opportunity here to turn this one around. A couple of shots away from taking the lead. There it is.
Nice. Much better shot on that right lane. I'm really curious, because Kayla Smith had lane choice, right? Yeah. And so I'm wondering what she saw, like in her practice session, to decide, for her to go first. Because so far it seems like this left lane is Megan's lane so far, and this is where she finishes the 10th. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out towards the end of this game.
Oof.
Oh.
That's okay.
I feel like I spoke too soon.
That one was kind of going, it was going right to left slightly. I mean very slight. Just enough, obviously, to be disastrous.
Yeah, that's a bit too late. Oh, not bad, not bad.
Yeah, good count. Got the wood.
Not bad indeed. Count taken, but that was a missed opportunity right there. And those are the ones in a match, in a one-game match, right, specifically, that you always can think back to and go, well, if Megan doesn't end up winning the match, that was the yeah, 6th frame was the changer.
Yeah. Out of trouble there.
Again, folks, 38 feet was the challenge today. 27.65 mils. There it is on your screen. And you know, JB, what were, if you could pinpoint after watching 8 games of qualifying, what were the most important items to kind of pay attention to as a player after watching qualifying today?
I think for me, spare Caleb. For me, it was looking at the distance. Let's kind of give you a general idea like where to play. So being 38 feet, I would expect a lot of people to play around that track area, and I feel like that is what we saw. We saw some girls migrate left as the day went on, you know, Summer Jasmine being one of them, but predominantly we saw a lot of big scores from girls that just stayed in that track area. And then the other thing that Notice talked about briefly is, that catches my eye is that 5 milliliters on the reverse. So most of the oil is in the front. And so that tells me that we're going to see more just kind of action in the back part of the lane. The pattern's not going to hold up, so I would expect to see some quick transitions. Ooh, and gets it. And I would expect girls to make more moves more often. And I feel like we saw that in the little bit of a roller coaster. We would see some good games, and then it felt like the lanes would change, and then we would kind of dip. And then, oh, we would figure it out, and then we would have to move again.
Look at the replay of the 7-pin there as we talked about, shoot, what was the name of that roller coaster again?
Expedition Everest.
We went backwards. Certainly some players did in the final game. Duff was not one of them. So the right lane, as I mentioned, certainly looking pretty good. Although she did leave a 2.48.10 on that lane. I think for Megan, it's if it's going right, as in, you know, she's playing relatively straight, like pretty straight. If it gets going right early, that's where the 2.10, 2.48.10 type situation starts to come into play.
Right.
Big shot here. Better shot. Oh, what a break.
Nice.
She was determined, I think, to make sure that one stayed online.
At this point in time, just with it, you know, bowling on fresh, it seems like the miss is more left. Or, like what you talked about, getting it right early gets us in trouble more, whereas if you get it in, we're just hoping it goes Brooklyn. And we saw that earlier. You know, we left a good 9.
Yes. Kayla's yet to double until now.
Nice. That was a great shot by Kayla, no doubter.
237 is the max score now for Kayla. 223 the max for Megan. Oh.
Okay. I was getting worried. We saw a lot of those today, too, the dreaded 7-10. That one looked like it got a little left to me. And we just, again, ball goes right behind the head pin we talked about earlier. Just kind of like deflects, but luckily we got the 10 to come out.
All right, spare is made. Here, Kayla's fiance, Nick. Off just to our right. Actually, Kayla and Kelly Whipple, a new YouTube channel.
Oh, yes, you're right. I've seen
I
that.
think they posted their first video or two recently. A strike here for Duff.
Oh.
I didn't think so.
All right, 10 pin here for Megan. And now she's going to need a little bit of help from Kayla Smith here. First and foremost, got a spare to make.
Nice.
So her max score is now 202. She's going to need at least a double.
Put a little pressure on Kayla.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
That was a really good shot. I actually thought it was the best one in the match.
Too. See, and that's the thing about this place is if you throw it less than your best, you get penalized for it. It tells you like that wasn't good enough. But the other thing about this place is that you could throw it amazing and still not get rewarded. It's like Cherry Bowl decides. Are you gonna get this hit or not?
Well, to be fair, right? The building's so historic. it does, you know, it's got its own way about it. So it does choose. It's in control. Of course that's going to go.
Yep, that's the one. That's the one that goes.
You know, all things considered, including the splits, that was a well-bowled game overall.
Agreed.
Yeah. That's normal day.
You know, like I, just talked about, those weren't horrendous shots by Megan at all. But, less than her best and, paid the price for them.
Yeah.
Official tally, need an 8, of course, to make it happen. And 8 it is.
Right.
All right, so the lefty of this match, of course, the opener, will indeed advance. Again, the second lefty in this one is our top seed in Sammy Knight. The first we'll see Summer Jasmine. Again, great bowling from Megan. Talked about what she did in the national touring season. Making a couple of cuts. And now puts herself in position to win a regional. Well, that happened today, but excellent showing.
Maybe.
That was pretty.
It was indeed pretty, Lauren. Nice call by you. All right, 204, 191. All right, our first bowling ball giveaway is coming up next. It is brought to you in part by Brunswick. The first couple of words from our proud Go partners, Kegel and Storm. That's all next here on Bowl TV.
What is it about bowling that captivates us so much? Mastery of the game is impossible, but perfection is just within reach.
He does it! Kyle
Success seems to lie 60 feet ahead, but the real battle takes place 6 inches between your ears. So if no matter how many times you fail, you would still do anything, and I mean anything, just to get 1% better. We know exactly how you feel.
All right, it's time. Brunswick bowling ball giveaway, and if there's not maybe the most common question that I get when people see me out and about at a bowling center, it's not even a question really, it's more of a comment, and it generally goes something like this. Either, boy, I want a bowling ball, but I haven't received an email. What happens next? Or, can you help me win a bowling ball? I know, Lauren. And so the answer to the question is, no, I can't help you. Win anyway. I can help you by giving you an opportunity to win right now. Because if you get out of full screen mode, you'd see the lower third prompt, so you don't want to miss that. So I'll give you just a couple of seconds. Again, if you're watching in full screen mode, and that is a dope way to watch, and you should do that. But if you want an opportunity to win a bowling ball, get on out of full screen mode briefly so you can see the lower third prompts. There'll be one countdown to start. It's going to tell you that a giveaway is underway. Once that first countdown is done, then the actual opportunity to win will be available. And for there, all you have to do is click Submit Entry. All right, so Brunswick bowling ball giveaway is out there right now for the people of Bowl TV. Thank you to, of course, Kegel, the official lane maintenance provider of the United States Bowling Congress and the PWBA. We appreciate you, Kegel, and all of our wonderful gold partners here on the PWBA Tour. All right, so while the giveaway is ongoing, I asked Julia Bond a couple of questions, and really just one. Julie, we watched Summer Jasmine be a little further left, especially early in qualifying. And she was looking to use ball speed today. So she said she amped up the ball speed a little bit and using some stronger stuff to try to allow the bowling balls to just kind of lay off at the end, be a bit more forward at the end of the pattern, and obviously has gotten her here. Assuming that same strategy will be in play. She's already a little further right just by some of the practice shots. Wow, that's not a look she had earlier.
Yeah, no.
Oh, my God. Listen, if she got that, I know we got just lefties left. She's the only righty left.
She got this look on this pair.
That's way different than where she was playing at. And again, on the fresh we're talking. We watched Summer in games 1 and 2. Make sure you click Submit Entry, folks. But your thoughts, what Summer have to do to get this job done?
I think stick with the game plan. Like, I think, you know, the plan that you just described to me, I think that was it. I think that was very successful. Summer, again, I'm very biased. I'm a big Summer Jasmine fan. I think she's incredibly smart. I think she knows what she wants to see. I think she knows how to manipulate the ball to see what she wants. And I think just listen to her gut. She has a lot of experience. In my opinion, I think she's always been, you talk about that mental and emotional management. I think Summer does that pretty well. I've never seen her get angry. I've never seen her get down. Good attitude, and I feel like if she carries that into this match and makes good decisions, I don't see why we can't see something great from Summer.
A lot of great points right there. Our top seed, of course, Sammy Knight. She's got one more match to wait. She did come over on the championship there and get a couple of shots. Summer, the higher seed, of course, will be, looks like they're waiting for the names and arrows to be flipped. So real quick, JB, going back to your earlier point about Kayla at the time, I forgot which lane she finished on, but choosing based on the way the match was going. It didn't look like she was going to finish on the lane that was going to be her best. After watching the first match, does any lane particularly stand out for you in favor of Kayla?
I think that left lane was pretty nice for her. But, I mean, I thought she had a good look on both, to be honest with you. She had a clean game. She didn't do anything, you know, wrong, you know. Whereas, I mean, but really neither did Megan, you know.
Yeah, correct.
So, but I think Kayla did the right things, you know. Had a couple balls not carry, but to be honest with you, I feel like she has a pretty good look on both lanes.
All right, Summer, Jasmine. Oh, this ball's coming back from the parking lot. Bang.
Oh. She's scary when she has that.
That's hard to beat, Lauren.
Yeah, it's hard to be. I'm not worried about her. She's okay. She's okay.
From one tone setting strike perhaps to another, and there it is.
Nice, good response.
Kayla Smith, the youngest competitor on today's show. She is 24 years old. Went to
She's older before me.
McKendree and Jacksonville State. Won a national championship in both schools.
Oh,
That's okay.
you're asking for it to push.
Yeah, she was.
She's a bit.
I think it answered her too, to be honest, because that could have been
Right,
a
honestly.
disaster.
I know. She'll be okay. Yes.
Yep, that's a good 9. We saw a lot of misses in today that did not always get us a good count.
Well, she's perfect in that department.
Yeah.
She's clean now through 12 frames. All right, that's across 2 matches, of course. Interesting item, folks. Just to the right now of Summer Jasmine on your screen sits Sophie Thompson and Mark Thompson, who flew here from London, England, just to bowl this tournament.
Oh,
3-6-10. So, well, I feel like a little bit different just with regard to, you know, what Summer's strategy was and wanting the ball to be a bit more forward. Now, perhaps just because of, you know, it could be just this pair, right, to where that she's not really, she's seeing ball reaction or ball motion that she maybe didn't anticipate seeing. And so maybe the game plan slightly changes. Now you know you've got a bit more room. Your job is simply, you know, hey, don't miss left.
yeah. And I think that really depends on the part of the lane that you're playing. Like in Megan's case, I thought her misses were better off being left because if you got it right early, we saw a lot of those 2-4-10s. Summer, she's playing further left, so in her case, as of right now, it feels like her miss room is probably better off right.
The ball's seeing it.
Yep, out of trouble. Yeah, that's a pretty good shot. And I kind of going back to seeing quick transition, you know, that I talked about earlier. You know, again, nothing terribly egregious about that shot. Just probably has to make a move quicker than we even saw earlier.
All right, spare is taken care of. Thank you to Tony Hall and the great staff here at the Cherry Bowl. Always a pleasure to be here with you in this particular building. The tour will return here next year, national tour, in May. Back on lane 12. And back with success is Kayla Smith. By the way, congrats to Tallis, who won the Brunswick bowling ball. We will have one more bowling ball coming up at the end of this match, and it will be courtesy of Motive. So again, be on the lookout for that after the match. One more bowling ball giveaway, courtesy of Motive. Oh, hook ball.
Oh. And it
How about
did. And it did.
That ball reminded me of the one that we saw Bailey Delrose throw.
Oh,
That
yes.
got away from her left.
Yeah.
It did the exact same thing.
Well, it's nice to know we have that, but I don't know if we want to do that again.
Kayla Smith looking for her first professional title. And so far, so good. Now back to Summer Jasmine after the early start. 3-6-10 and the 4-7, and that one is
Nice.
good. Throwing the lethal Venom. Just one of the balls she did throw today. Also a Venom shot. She threw the Evoke Hysteria for a little bit throughout the 8-game block. Summer, also known as Winter, courtesy of Daria Payonk.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. She just really just can't miss left. She's
Yeah,
it
no.
looks like she's good.
Just get it right. You're right.
I know, that was scary, isn't it?
Yeah, wasn't it? I mean, that was fantastic.
I know, it's good.
That's such a good feeling when you've moved far enough left and all you got to do is just get it right and it'll be fine.
Which then translates into the hardest thing ever.
I know, it's just a roller coaster.
Back to Smith. Didn't like that one immediately.
Oh,
And a pick 4. This could be the first open. And this is going back to her opening match with Megan Duff that she did win 204 to 191.
well, she left. I think she's gonna do it. Well, that's
All right, she'll take the count, and that is her first open. Well, slightly frustrated, and you could certainly understand why.
You know, that's something that I've noticed about Kayla is like a little bit of emotion. I feel like she wears her heart on her sleeve. Like if she's doing great and amazing, you see that. But if
Yeah.
she's a little frustrated, I think we tend to see that on her
She
face.
missed me. She's been missing me.
Oh,
Jeez.
good break there.
She really missed me.
Again, it's there. We have it.
Wow.
awesome.
I tell you, when we watched Summer, the few times obviously throughout the 8-game block, I don't think we really saw that bowling ball be thrown, and we certainly did not see this area of the lane being played by Summer.
And this plays right into her A game.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she's moved into a part of the lane earlier where she essentially got to score,
That's true.
you know, it's nice to see that that part of the lane's working now. Oof. Sweet shot.
4-pin.
And I think that's a little bit of the caveat of playing as much angle as she is. You know, there's going to be times where you might get it to the friction a little bit sooner than you want, but being okay with that 4-pin. Because like we talked about earlier, she has to get it going that way. So it's like, okay, I have to get it that way. And I might leave a 4-pin, but I got to be okay with that.
Good spare here for Summer. This is certainly the turning point potentially. And looking to step up and throw one in the 7th, and certainly one in the 8th.
Great shot.
She really missed me. Why
That was a great shot.
Very nice double off of the open.
Pulled out of it a little bit, but it won't matter.
Nice. I think I stand by what I said. I think she has a good look on the left lane.
Yeah, she does.
A lot of room.
Another good look at it.
See, that's a great.
Here's Summer with Kayla's max score at 242. No.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yep, good old corner. Courtesy of Cherry Bowl.
Yep. Not in my place.
All right, that one is taken care of.
She's still direct. I'm not sure she's
Well, this is an important shot here, but it still is not in Summer's hands. That was a big shot.
Yep.
236 is the max.
Yeah, I'm scared, Summer.
Good break.
Oh, I was scared. As soon as she let it go, I was like, oh, that's not far enough right down lane.
And she too knew it.
Yep, another look at it. Just doesn't quite get where it needs to go. It takes that sharp turn, but there's an element of luck always involved. Can't deny that.
Kayla really missed me. Whatever, why
Big shot here.
Oof.
Kayla said she knew it off her hand, and that's what she told me. We talked about it just pre-match, just getting a little info, and she said everything with her is release-based. Like, she knows exactly, from a carry perspective, whether it's going to carry generally or not at the release point.
That's some amazing feel.
Well, I appreciated the honesty
Yeah.
as well. So what that does is obviously take her now out lead in the front running situation here. If she struck there through the first couple of attempts with a good count, she would have shut out Summer Jasmine. Instead, now she's looking at all three in the 10th for 221, and then that would force a double. Or excuse me, the first one in the 10th from Summer Jasmine to win the match and move on the championship versus Sammy Knight. That's a maybe.
Oh. It was good. Yeah. Just a little high. I feel like more times than not, that's the kind of shot you'll probably take any other day of the week.
All right, big spare here. Summer still needs a mark. So I'd love to fill it up here. Definitely needs to strike. Well, the visible frustrations there from Phil shot. Well, 209. Again, Summer is going to need a mark. 9 out would be 204, so the job is not done yet. Jasmine looking for a good one here. Bang.
Nice. Sealed it.
Best mark you can throw. And Summer Jasmine now moving on to face Sammy Knight. The Rockford Regional title match here. Well, as Summer finishes up, we'll quickly, from JB's perspective, we were talking about lefties earlier today, and young lefties like a Kayla Smith, a Bailey Del Rose, the next wave of lefties, if you will, who could really make noise, obviously, on tour. And yeah, the more I watch Kayla Smith and the more she puts herself in these positions to win, the more I see multiple titles in her future.
Yeah, no, I agree. She is definitely making herself known. People are going to start recognizing her name. And when they see her, they're going to look at her and be like, oh, like I want to bowl like her. I want to see what she's up to. And so I think this has been all around great experiences for Kayla, at Green Bay and here. And she'll only get better and better. I think those emotions are great, but learning how to navigate it in these pressure situations. So I think she'll just keep growing. And I agree. I think she'll have a really great career.
All right, 223 to 209 is the official final score. With that said, the Motive bowling ball giveaway, that's coming up. It's the final bowling ball giveaway of the day. But first, a word from a proud USBC Gold partner, and that is indeed Lane Talk.
Got some exciting news.
We now have a pro subscription
for bowlers who really want to take their game to the next level.
The biggest thing, you can tag and label each game.
Whenever you use a ball, whatever oil pattern that you're on,
You can now track the ball's performance and compare balls side by side.
it is incredibly powerful and it is going to help you analyze your game.
Try Lane Talk Pro free for 1 month. Upgrading the app, and we'll see you on Lane Talk.
A big thank you to Lane Talk, again, valuable USBC Gold partner. Make sure you stop by lanetalk.com. Find live scoring links and centers across the U.S. and all of the latest products to help you track your scores and improve your game. That is Lane Talk. Emil Williams Jr., Julia Bond, Jason Thomas, our producer. He's on the ones and twos. And Lauren Schaefer's been shadowing Bowl TV and getting the inside scoop, the behind the scenes on what's happening. She's been hanging out with us today as well. It is time for the Motive bowling ball giveaway as we watch practice shots from the top seed, Sammy Knight. First and foremost, again, if you are watching in full screen, please exit out of full screen mode. By the way, Talis, I forgot to tell you, so I'll just wait till this is officially underway to give you the what to look forward to now that you know you are a winner. So get out of full screen mode if you're looking for our next bowling ball giveaway. The first countdown will exit. Once it does, you'll see a second countdown, and we'll ask you to simply click Submit Entry. All right, once you click that, you will be entered to win. You'll be entered into the giveaway. Of course, there are no guarantees that you will win, but I certainly hope you do. I hope all of you do. At some point, I hope every single person who's ever entered a Bowl TV giveaway wins at some point, and that we can all bask in the joy of giveaway wins as it's now officially underway. With that said, Talis, you should receive an email in about a couple weeks. Give it 7 to 14 days or so. Make sure you check your email. Make sure you check your spam and or junk folders also. That way, you will be contacted via email. If for some reason you feel like you just haven't seen anything within that time frame, then you should reach out to marketing@bowl.com. All right, we've got a lefty, of course, still on the lanes. Julia Bond, obviously you're not left-handed. I guess it's not obvious for those who don't know you. But you are not left-handed, but you've been watching this pair. We talked about Kayla's look being very good. Sammy Knight was throwing the same bowling ball that Kayla Smith had been throwing. You can't anticipate that Sammy's ball will be or look will be the same, but already a couple of single pin leads just in these warm-up shots. So how much of a difference can we expect to see possibly with the way Sammy Knight will maybe have to play the left side of the lane here?
Well, you know, Kayla gave her a little bit of a blueprint of like where to play or where to throw it or maybe where not to throw it. And so I think Sammy has a little bit of an advantage there, whereas Summer, it seems a little black and white where she has to throw it. And her mistakes, if she makes them, seem to be a little bit more volatile. Whereas with Kayla and Sammy, I think they have more room, it feels like, but they have a higher chance of leaving those single pins. And so, you know, Sammy watched Kayla throw urethane, and it looked good. But those single pins are definitely a little scary when you know Summer has the capability to send them 10 back. So that might change Sammy's game plan a little bit. Maybe she won't use the urethane. Maybe she'll go to reactive to try to kind of combat that. Or she'll stick with the urethane because she, saw Kayla throw it and she saw where she was. So I think it really depends on Sammy's comfort level and what she herself is seeing as a bowler and what she feels. When you're the number 1 seed, and it's literally just one match, you know, whatever decision she makes, I think it's very important for her to commit to it and believe in it 100%. Because if we're still in between or if we're wishy-washy, you know, that's not a great recipe for confidence or good shot making.
She did throw reactor for a couple of shots to get a look at it here during these warm-ups. Back to urethane. She's not quite convinced yet. But control has been on her side. Now, the one thing that we talked about was her scorecard. And she's had one big game, maybe two. She did shoot 247 in game 7. At 258 in game 3. But a lot of 2-10, 2-0, and one 220-plus game. But she was the leader for a reason. Plus 169. So she controlled the 1-2 all day long. And certainly did what she had to do. Made spares to average 221. All right, so Summer is going to start. Last regional title for Summer came in 2017 in Fayetteville, North Carolina. First one was in Dubuque, Iowa. Ball change. Looks like the Venom Shock. Possibly. Basing that off some of the equipment that Summer said she might throw. This is her 5th regional show since 2020. Speaking of Summer, and it is indeed a a Venom Shock. Now, first look here at Samantha Knight. Oh, wow. Last warm-up shot she threw on that lane. It was 10 back and then trouble immediately here.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I'm not sure if she threw that a little softer than she intended to. She threw it good. At least I thought it was good from here, but I wonder if it was softer and the urethane just, you know, just super early. It's already early, but it picked up even earlier.
All right, she will take the count.
And that's the frame to open. You know, a whole lot of game left.
She's bowled 3. I believe the number is 3. She actually hasn't bowled a ton of regionals. Last one she bowled, she also was the number 1 seed. That was last year in Cleveland. Very good shot. A lot of the work that Sammy did, just kind of handling the pair-to-pair differences, involved speed changes, hand positions, sometimes getting on the side of it to store just a little bit of additional energy. Looks like she's going to have to do that here in the championship match as well. Oh, good spare.
Well, that's, everything you said is like a really great prime example of why versatility is important. Especially when you get, you play on things, patterns that are difficult, in centers that are difficult. The more tools you have in your pocket, you have so many choices. And then if you make the right choices at the right time, you get to be the number 1 seed like Sammy.
Summer. There it is. Looks like the same look, but obviously the Lethal Venom had a little extra. I mean, with no pun intended, but yeah, all pun intended, actually. It was very lethal. And so she obviously making the ball change. And you can see the subtle difference, right? It just doesn't hook as much. And for her, and the look that she has, you know, she's just trying to stay out of trouble, basically. So as long as she hits the target, sends it right, it's going to more than likely do the right thing.
Jeez.
Maybe.
That was pretty great. But I do like the ball choice. Like, I feel like that got enough right. There's an argument, there's an argument that it wasn't enough, but it was definitely a smoother shape, and I think that is much better conducive to what Summer's trying to do. So I like the ball change. I'm for it. Even though it left us this 9-pin, I'm still for the ball change.
Sammy Knight just got a new role at Brunswick Bowling. Involved in essentially a new photographer, involved in videography with regards to marketing. So congrats to Sammy. And she made the change.
You know, and I don't blame her. Like, when we talked about decisiveness, you know, she only gets this one game. And if she's not seeing what she wants from the first two with the ball that she's using, I'm for this ball change too. Got to switch it up. Got to do something different. Take that risk. Because you know what Summer has. So, and if you don't feel like you have it, you got to find it.
Yeah, that is the key, as you just said. You know what Summer has, and she's got the best look in the building, certainly. A couple of players who not shy about not only working hard but being open and very honest about what they do, how they do it, when things go well, when things don't go well. That's got to peel.
Ooh.
This is the head pin left and the exhale as she exits the approach. There's a replay.
Yep, gets just a little further left than what we wanted.
All right, the spare is covered. I know it's a different, she's got to switch mindsets, right? And it seems easy. You know, we for the most of us, right, we bowled, and, you know, we certainly all haven't bowled at this level. Right, but you got to go from one type of equipment to another. There's a mind shift change. She has thrown that all day. And not a Summer whose look has gotten better and better. And her ball's peeling.
Yes. It is doing all the right things. Yeah, this is just what Summer loves to do. You know, she doesn't have, more speed the better. She can have open angles. This just really plays to her strengths.
It's not every day you get to a step ladder pair, even though they get practice on it. And it does work immediately into your comfort zone. That is what Summer has here. From Beckley, West Virginia, it's a little left. And that's a good break.
Yep. Still a good shot.
Summer went plus 142. Her low game actually was game 1 of the tournament, 199.
Stay hot.
And that trend actually has continued to 23 in the semifinal. Okay, Julia Bond. You're Sammy Knight right now, right? You're not trying to hit the panic button.
Yep.
All right, but how easy or difficult really is it to not do that based on how things have gone all day? You mentioned a great point earlier. You know, you bowl 8 games. These are one-game matches. She's only got 1 game. And now at this point, a handful of frames left, of course, 6 to be exact. Try to turn this thing around.
I think it goes back to to commitment. You know, she made the ball change. You know, and we've given it 2 shots. And I really commend the decision to do something different. You know, like I said, we started off with an open. We left a 9 spare on a good shot. And, you know, we did it again. So when you only have so many frames and your opponent has a really great look, again, I don't blame her for wanting to do something different, trying something different. That's, I think, how you get better and how you get experience. We don't learn if we just keep doing the same things. Whereas, like, you know, hypothetically, if Sammy never made the ball change and she just kept using the same ball, you know, we could still learn something from that, but there's a chance that she goes back on that match. She's like, well, what if I switched? Oh, see, now we're going back, and I don't blame her. You committed to the ball change. It didn't do what you expected it to do, and now we're going back. Again, she's continuously thinking, and that's amazing.
From the stealth mode back to the Black Widow urethane, and 10 back.
There you go. See, and obviously there's an argument that, like, oh, well, she never should have gotten out of it. And I was just like, well, I mean, she's the one bowling. She's the one that was throwing the shots she saw and was feeling whatever it is that she was thinking and feeling. And she made a decision. You know, and she went back and threw it amazing.
All back to Summer.
That one had a long way to go.
Yeah, it did. That was the first real sign that she actually got one that was outside of the hook back zone, if you will.
Summer's a sharpshooter, though, and a washout is not crazy. It's not out of the realm for her. I'm predicting we're gonna shoot the pin over there.
Well, you mentioned the word sharpshooter earlier, and I think it was about Carlene Byer at the time, and she converted whatever spare was. And Summer does the same.
See.
That's why we got Julia Bond, folks.
I've seen this story play out. I've seen her. I know better. I know better than to doubt Summer.
Great conversion, especially after seeing, right, conviction from Sammy Knight in the 6th frame and going, okay, all right. You have to anticipate that she's going to be lined up for the rest of the game as the opponent. You got to anticipate that. Great conversion from Summer. We're down to the nitty-gritty 7th frame.
Okay.
This lane has been iffy. 4-pin, 9-pin, 4-pin, 6-10.
Yeah, it feels like it's going through that quick transition. We talked about it earlier. I mean, I would be very surprised if someone told me today that they stayed in the same spot for an entire game. And so I'm not really surprised that we're seeing this quickish transition. Even though Summer's the only righty bowling right now, you know, she's pretty accurate.
That was something that you brought up earlier, too, with regards to the likelihood of people not moving today. In fact, you thought they'd be moving much faster based on the lane pattern and the lane or the building itself, lane surface, and, of course, the topography pair-to-pair here inside the Cherry Bowl. And I think we are seeing that to some degree play out on both sides of the lane. I'll tell you what, if Sammy Knight can step up and throw strikes in the 7th and 8th, we got ourselves a situation. Big shot here. Yeah.
Just looks a little in. Or it's just picking up. And urethane is not something I throw very often, so I'm still trying to kind of figure out like what eyeballs, because sometimes my eyeballs do not like to see the shape that urethane does, but I'm trying to get better. So sometimes it's still a mystery even to me.
Well, talking to Sammy and Nick back there, that particular urethane is an ASIM, and it seems from what they said, it might hook. I won't say it hooks the earliest urethane, but certainly in comparison to symmetrical, it hooks almost immediately. So it does hook much earlier. That's solid.
Nice.
I did look a little left, a little further left than the shot on the right lane. Maybe just by a couple of boards. She's still in the match.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. You know, she ends on that left lane. So one more shot on the right and see what she does in the 10th.
211 max for Sammy Knight. Summer started with a double, and then you start to see an area code in the frames 5, 6, and 7. 9 count, 6 count, 8 count, all spares, of course. And talking about a break right there.
I thought I was going to go. You know, and that's where Summer has to throw her 10th frame. So that tells me when we come back over there, we might have to make, you know, we definitely have to move, but is it a bigger move than what we normally would do?
All right, spare is made. She has to finish on that lane. So when she gets back on that lane to finish, right, what's the situation going to be? For Summer's sake, hopefully it's a winning situation. She's still got 222 max. But if she doesn't strike here, especially if it's lower than with regards to 9 from a count perspective, Sammy Knight could end up having a chance to step up and shut out Summer Jasmine in frames 9 and 10. This is a very important shot. This feels and looks like a move. Oh, and there it is. That was clutch.
I agree. That definitely looked like a move.
Felt like, you know, she had to do that, right, no matter what, as you talked about. But with that said, right, when she gets back up on the right lane, the match potentially could be over. or at the very least, she still will have to perform in the 10th, but it will be in a winning situation. You know, 8 spare there. She would have been trailing in the count department by a pin.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta have her first double here. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a good shot. She mouthed that. Didn't take an expert to read lips from Sammy Knight. Great shot indeed.
That's tough.
This is a little bit different the last time I saw her in this position in Yorktown Lanes, where it's still going to, you know, more or less come down to the 10th frame. I think the scoring pace there was a little bit higher, but I felt like some similar things with regard to how to maneuver right through a one-game match. You know, things you did maybe throughout qualifying, all of a sudden you got to alter the plan a little bit. And like you said, JB, she should be commended certainly for even giving Reactive a look early on, because if you were going to do it, you certainly had to do it early in the match. But just like the previous match, this one not over yet. All three in the 10th would be 191.
Hit it.
Oh. You never know.
Job. Yeah, give her hits.
Matt in the chat says what JB has been echoing throughout the day here at Cherry Bowl with regard to Rap 7s and Rap 10s. Every shot uberly important. Gotta have it.
Get up.
Read ball, it will not. If she strikes there again, she had the opportunity to shoot 191. 9 out for Summer would have been 190. All right. There's a hug from Sammy Knight as Summer needs 5 and 2 shots. Summer Jasmine hasn't won a regional title since 2017. Makes it official.
Nice.
9 is good, and Summer Jasmine, such a Bowl TV fan favorite, and I just think a fan favorite across the board with respect to watching her interactions with fans, you know, during the tour season, both nationally and regionally. She gets a chance to share this with our good friend Natalie Cortez. Natalie, of course, and her sister Amanda bowled very often with Summer and traveled together in the early stages of the relaunch tour. And Summer credits Natalie a ton for Summer bowling on tour, and as much as she has. And so the first title, that regional title that she won, Natalie was there. Natalie was here today.
Oh.
Summer wins.
So Natalie is the key.
Yeah, we got to get more Natalie Cortez, who was a super awesome person, and that's the first person she sought out. Good fan group, or friend group, excuse me. Megan, Natalie, Dana stayed. And now we'll have the official trophy presentation. Tony Hall. We will have Summer join us here in the booth. 198-181, the official tally. There's Carrie Ogle getting the official champion photos.
There's Natalie.
And there is Natalie, folks, who we were just talking about. Well, it took 5 shows since 2020 for Summer to break through again. But, and I truly mean this, it could not have happened to a better person than Summer Jasmine, who is a great example of someone who works hard, and the cliche of paying your dues. She's paid all the dues you can pay. She's overdues. Like, she should get a refund. She's paid so many dues.
Yeah.
And finally,
she'll just win the regional showdown, and then she gets those entry fees.
that she would
That'll
be
be
definitely refunded
Anyway.
for those dues, because now she has an opportunity with said regional showdown, as you mentioned. If she does win that, she would earn the opportunity to have her entry fees paid for, courtesy, of course, of the PWBA. Again, some are all mic'd and ready to go as we get framed here. Well, Summer, first of all, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just talked about at the end, as you got what you needed, the story you told me about Natalie being in the building pre-show and being there for your first title.
Yeah.
Here she is again. Just describe the moment, what it means to be a champion again on this tour.
It's awesome. Like, I didn't know if I can do it again. So the goal was to win another regional. So it's pretty cool. Like, now it's like make a TV show like on the national stage. And I was close last year. So like this, just to make like another step ladder, I'm like, we got to go for it today. Because like I had a streak of like making step ladders, and I'm like, I just kept losing. Like, I'd lose the first match, or I'd just have a bad break. But this is like full circle moment right here.
What did you see that made you say, I've got to go for it? Like, what put that in your mind today?
Well, like I was injured this year. Like I had a bad knee. So, and I was so close at making cuts this year. I cashed one time. And I finished 51st in points. So I'm like, missed the priority for next year. So I'm like, we got to go for a regional. Just to like kind of cement that I'm out there. And like, I've never cashed in this building. So to like win this one is like awesome.
You probably left a wrap 10 or something.
Ugh.
'Cause that's what everybody else did today.
Well, it's usually I'm not close. Like, it's usually pretty bad. But like, I made it out of PTQ last year, and I was like, all right, that's like that was the hard part, because the PTQ here for the national stop was like a normal stop, and they only took like 12 or 13
Yeah,
girls,
wasn't that many spots.
and it's like it was tough. Like, and they got harder as we went. Like, the lanes got tougher, and they did the same thing today. Like, they got tricky. So. Sorry, I'm like choked up. Like, I didn't think I would.
Well,
No, I know. I'm
so
getting choked up. Like,
I was
when
gonna
you
say
started,
that.
I was getting like teary-eyed because we've talked about it on the stream. I'm a big fan of yours, and like when you went out to Baton Rouge with us, I got to know you a little bit
Yeah.
more, hang out with Meg, and so
Yeah.
I've like become attached to you.
Yeah.
And you've always been so nice. Or when like our jerseys, we were talking about that.
Yeah,
like
we were
all
talking about
year.
that. Yeah.
And
like,
so, but it's just so nice seeing you succeed, because I feel like you've earned it. Like, we're sitting
Yeah.
here, it's like you do the right things, you work super hard, your personality is top notch, and so to watch you win in the center, that has given me frustrations.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
whether it be high school and then our
I know,
events,
that-
like it's
what
it's
I
an
like.
accomplishment.
Like, I have a lot of friends in the Illinois area, so like Natalie Cortez, Amanda Cortez, Megan Bucha were like the first group of girls like I met like on tour, and then like I met Brittany and Drew, and they always talk about like how tough this place is, and then like when we bowl the national stops here, I'm like, man, they're hard, they're always gonna be like tricky, but today like something clicked, and my tour roommate Kayla Pashina was like, why are you throwing it so hard today? Like, I threw it pretty hard for me in general, and I'm like, it worked. Like, I saw what I needed, and everything made sense. Like, it's just like a light bulb went off, and I'm like, let's just go. Today's the day. And then, like, I didn't know where I was in the standings. It was just like grind. And I shot like a couple 230s, and I'm like, all right. Like, then I like talking around, and they're like, oh, well, you're in there. I'm like, okay. I said stepladder. That's check mark. And then after the first match, like, Kayla Smith's a tough competitor.
She was great.
So I bowled her in queens in the bracket last year. So she was my first match. And then 3 weeks ago, I bowled in the King of the Hill in Poplar. So I bowled against her brother.
How about that?
And I lost to him. So it was like...
So you came in with revenge.
The Smith family.
The Smith family. I was like, coming after you. No, I'm kidding. But it was fun. Like, it's just been... Last few weeks, like, Peoria was a struggle. Had a rough game. But I managed to get a check. And then this week was just... Everything just felt loose. Like, everything felt right. So...
All right, Summer, I got 2 more questions. The first one I'm going to allow our shadow intern today, Lauren Schaefer, to ask. So, Lauren, you had a question for Summer.
Yeah, Summer, I know I like you because you're a good bowler, and I try so many things that I like to do because you have, again, new shoes like what I have. So my mom said you have to keep up the bowling, and you have to know that. And that's true. You don't know what happened to you the day we were born.
So you got to keep up the bowling.
Yeah, keep the bowling.
Your shoes are
my
dope.
My shoes are dope. I said these are almost on their last leg. But we kept them for probably, we'll finish the season with them. We'll finish this year, and then we'll give them a change. I'm trying to break in a new pair, actually.
So, so how do you keep up the good bowling?
So I've been working really hard.
Okay.
I've just been practicing. Not as hard this week, just because like I went pretty hard last week. So I've been just getting games in and just getting the feel right, and everything felt pretty good today.
All right. Final question. Regional showdown. You get a spot in the 2 match play, of course.
Yes.
I've been talking about you paid your dues. You paid so many dues that you deserve a refund, which you could get if you win the regional showdown, because then they'd shower you with entry fees that would be covered. What would it mean to win that showdown?
That'd be awesome because, like I said earlier, I lost my priority this season by missing the top 50. So to have like all the entries covered, like that's just like having priority again. But so I'm tickled to death because, like I said, Orlando was in the it was question mark, but now like we're going. I'm gonna go actually like the weekend before. I'm bowling like a team challenge thing while I'm down there, so I guess I'm gonna make a little vacation out of it.
Oh, nice.
And make more money.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right, Summer Jasmine, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll see you. Are you bowling again?
I will be in Minnesota.
All right. Well, you'll see today's champion 2 weeks from now on September 28th. All right, we'll let Summer go. She's got to talk to Gene Koenig as well for PWBA Communications. Should we close the show, Mr. Producer? Should we? All right, let's close the show since we're here. Okay. Let's thank the United States Bowling Congress and the USBC Board. We'd like to thank the BPAA and their respective boards, Kegel, the official late maintenance provider of the PWBA and the United States Bowling Congress. Certainly the wonderful fans and, of course, the obvious great competitors, all of whom were fantastic, especially in our stepladder finals. But there can only be one champion today. Her name is Summer Jasmine, also known as Winter, for those of you who don't know that. Want to thank who? Sum is another one. Okay, that's new. All right. So I want to thank everybody. Big thank you to Lauren Schaefer, who is our shadow intern today, media student at Rock Valley. So shout out to Lauren. Thank you to Jason Thomas, our producer today. Thank you to Gene Koenig, Devin Green, Damon Sirocco, and our entire staff and crew. Thank you to Julia Bond, who was kind enough to join us here as well. For all involved, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We say so long for now. We'll see you September 28th. From Cedarville Lanes in Eagan, Minnesota. It's the Twin Cities Regional. Until then, this has been a presentation of the PWBA Rockford Regional. You watched it live and only on Bowl TV. And remember, bowling lives here. Good night, folks.